Good evening. Welcome to the City of Sugar Land City Council meeting for Tuesday, May the 7th. A little bit about our agenda tonight. In a minute, Councilmember Stuart Jacobson is going to do the invocation. That'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the nation's flag and to the Texas flag. And we're going to have some special guests that I'm going to invite up, and I'll introduce them, and they're going to help us with the pledge. And then we have a number of recognitions. So again, thank you all for coming. And we look forward to what we're going to bring to you tonight. Stuart, would you like to lead us in the invocation?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Please, everyone, as we convene in this chamber today, let us not forget the principles upon which our city stands: fiscal responsibility, public safety, and providing the best opportunity for a life we cannot even imagine. We gather here to ensure the efficient functioning of our municipality while safeguarding the liberties of our citizens, all of our citizens, regardless of race, religion, ethnicity, or national origin. As we embark upon the business of this council meeting, let us remember that our actions today will shape the future of our community for generations to come. Let us therefore proceed with dignity, diligence, integrity, and a steadfast dedication to the principles that have made our city great. In the spirit of unity with all our fellow citizens, let us rise to meet the challenges before us with resolve and determination. With the guidance of prudence and the wisdom of experience, let us work together to build a city that is strong, vibrant, and resilient. May our efforts here today be blessed with success, and may we always remain true to the ideals that have made our city a beacon of opportunity and freedom. Amen.
Thank you, Stuart. Now I'd like to invite down some of our guests. These are the rodeo art winners for the 3D projects from Clements High School. We've got Miss Olivia Chang. Olivia, if you could come down, please. Miss Natalia Quinones. Miss Chloe Donaldson. And their art instructor, Holly Gatula. And let me introduce each of them to you. Olivia Chang, she's a senior at Clements High School. She is in Ceramics 1, and this was her first time using oil-based clay and sculpting. She won Best of Show for 3D, and the title is Leap of Faith, to symbolize we sometimes need to take a leap into faith to see where faith leads us. Miss Natalia Quinones, senior at Clements, and has been doing art all her life and 3D art since her sophomore year. This year for rodeo, she won Best of Show in 3D for the second consecutive year. She's very excited to share it with everyone because she loves the detail on it and the action in general. And last but not least, Miss Chloe Donaldson. She's a junior at Clements. She has been very experimental and loves trying to do anything that piques her interest, which is essentially everything. This was her first time ever doing a 3D piece for rodeo, since she usually works with 2D mediums, and the piece itself and she not only got to work on for a few days. Aside from art, she absolutely loves biology and wants to major in forensic science while keeping up art as a minor. You may have a role in our police department. So at this time, I think we've got a few slides of the art up here on the screen, and then once we've kind of gone through those, I mean, this is pretty extraordinary. Ladies, who wants to take the lead in leading us in the pledge to the nation's flag?
Hey guys, are you ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now to the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Council members, if you could come down, please, I can get you to move right over here in the middle, and then we're going to get a picture. And it was not lost on me, being a girl's dad, that these are all ladies, and there were no guys represented in this art competition. There we go. And now we have we've got a number of special recognitions tonight. Now we've got, many of you know that Sugarland 101 was developed back in 2004 by Councilmember Cyril Hosley, and it was the concept was that we were having trouble getting people on boards and commissions, getting them interested in city council, and she thought that if we did a class that allowed people to meet the different department heads over a period of time, understand the services of the city of Sugar Land, that we would get more volunteers for boards and commissions and even for council members. And certainly we've got council members up here that have been through Sugar Land 101, so Cyril Hosley was absolutely spot on. Well, tonight we have with us our Sugar Land 101 class of 20 people that volunteered their time over a period of 10 weeks to go through and participate with our staff. And I want to thank each and every one of them. We're going to call them up. I'm going to ask Jennifer Williams to join me up here, our public affairs strategist. And she's going to join me, and she's going to have a brief discussion. And then we're going to bring them up, and we're going to recognize all of them and get some pictures and thank them for volunteering their time, and hopefully we can get them back for boards and commissions or a council member. So, Jennifer?
Thank you, Mayor. The members, like the mayor said, of the Sugar Land 101 group actually met for the last 10 weeks. They learned quite a bit about our city, and it's my sincere hope that we've created some new opportunities for people to come and join us on boards and commissions. I would like to welcome them down to the front. If the class of 2024 would please rise and step forward. Not only did they participate in this class for 10 weeks, but their families actually had to pick up the slack for them at home and allowed them to participate. So we would like to thank them as well for allowing them to come and learn about the community.
You want to introduce them?
Oh, sure. In this class this evening, we have Mr. Gopal, Ziad and Janet Shaber, Sarah Chin Kim, Joanne Gonzalez, Geronimo Gutierrez, Robert Crush, Nathan Matthew, Kay McNeil, Colleen Meagle, Carol Schwartzfager, Pratik Verma, Chad Werner, and Carl Sang.
I'm going to get y'all to probably get into two groups. And then council members, if you guys can come down front.
While they're assembling, I would sincerely like to thank all of the staff that's sitting out in the audience that participated through this program. If it wasn't for you, we would not be able to host the community and educate them to what we do on a daily basis. I can truly see the love each one of you has for what you do on a daily basis. So thank you again. And I would also like to give a special shout out to our communications and community engagement team for doing all the cool things that they did to help us make this successful. So thank you.
Our next recognition this evening is recognition of Public Service Recognition Week. And I'm going to ask Chandra Holmes to join me down front. Chandra is our People Experience Manager. She's bringing somebody down here with her that she didn't put on the list, 2 people. So I'm going to let you introduce them, and then I think you're going to introduce the item for us.
So I'm Chandra Holmes, and this is Courtney Peel. She is our engagement coordinator, and Jasmine Jones, she is our wellness coordinator. And I'll pass it back to you, Mayor, to give the proclamation for Public Service Recognition Week, which is typically held the first week in May, where we basically take out some time to thank our employees that go above and beyond to help each other and the community.
You know, and they do go above and beyond. There's nobody in the city of Sugar Land. I think we're now, what, Mike, 960 people. And we've got the most extraordinary people that are committed to you all as our citizens. And so this is a time to recognize them. Public Service Recognition Week, Chandra, let's move here. Public Service Recognition Week, May 5th through 11th, 2024. Whereas since 1985, Public Service Recognition Week is celebrated in the month of May to honor people who serve our nation as federal, state, county, and local government employees. And whereas throughout the nation and the world, public servants use this occasion to educate others about the work they do and why they have chosen public service careers, as well as the many ways government services make life better for all of us. And whereas City of Sugar Land employees are on the front lines, ensuring the safety and security of our community and providing important services to our citizens, such as traffic management, safe streets and sidewalks, superior quality water, enforcement of codes and ordinances that keep our community one of America's best. Our public servants deserve thanks for working diligently on our behalf, doing important work that positively affects us every single day. Whereas the city currently employs 800 plus employees and is still growing, public safety employees make up about 1/5 of the city's employees in the fire, EMS, police, and dispatch departments. The other half of our workforce includes employees in departments such as city administration, communications, engineering, planning, public affairs, public works, information technology, finance, human resources, permits and inspections, environmental and neighborhood services, city attorney, city secretary, Department of Innovation, Economic Development, and the Sugar Land Regional Airport. And so we're going to present this proclamation to you all on behalf of council and the citizens of Sugar Land. Council members, Mike, Meredith. Before we move on to the public comments period, I'm going to read the following. I want to thank everyone who's here tonight, and to many of you for being here many times over the past several months to speak to us about your desire for the city of Sugar Land to take action on a ceasefire resolution. We share in your concern over the events that have transpired in Israel and Gaza, and see the personal impact of this foreign conflict on many in our local community. That said, and consistent with the city's long-standing history of not becoming involved on issues that are not directly related to our municipal operations, it would not be appropriate for the city council to consider or take action on a resolution regarding foreign policy. Going forward, starting tonight, We will be strictly enforcing our public comment policy, meaning speakers must stay on the subject matter of the agenda item and be respectful, recognizing that the following actions will occur if anyone attempts to disrupt or interfere with this meeting. Number one, you will be politely asked to remain on topic. If you deviate from the topic of the agenda item, you will be given a warning. Number two, if someone keeps speaking after the warning, the microphone will be cut and that person will be asked to leave. Number three, if someone is asked to leave but does not, the city manager will ask the police department to escort that individual out of the meeting. Number four, if an individual is subject to police escort out of the meeting, does not leave, the individual may be arrested and charged with disrupting a public meeting. Additionally, members of the audience should be mindful of our governing rules for conducting the business of city council. Clapping, chanting, or heckling from the audience as individuals participate in public comment is not permitted. Thank you for your understanding, and at this point, we will now move to agenda item number 2. Item number 2, public comment. We have a number of people that are signed up. If you'll remember the direction that I just gave you, I'm going to call the people up and ask that they identify the agenda item they're going to speak on, name, address, and the agenda item. Our first guest is Wanda Lockart. Wanda? You just, ma'am, right here at the dais, right there, to the podium, ma'am.
Right here? Okay. I'm addressing, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, hello, Mayor.
Hi.
Hello, council members. I'm addressing, I guess it's 3B, consideration for the contract with Alliance Transportation Group for traffic signal, signage, and pavement marking, designed for University Boulevard. I'm in favor of anything that makes University Boulevard safe. And my main concern, and Mayor, we've spoken, and Councilwoman Carroll, we've spoken. I'm with Brazos Landing HOA. I'm the president. Our subdivision is right across from Fort Settlement Middle School. And our major concern is the safety of University Boulevard for walkers and riders, public safety. And the University Boulevard is currently at, in that area at 40 miles per hour. Those cars are going 50 and 60. There has been a number of accidents, and as we widen and make University Boulevard bigger, our homeowners are concerned that we're not doing anything to make it safe for walkers, especially in our community. We walk to the park. So now, right now, our homeowners can't walk on the university side because the cars are too fast. Most of those cars don't live in Sugar Land. They live in Riverstone and other areas, and they're not taxpayers of the city of Sugar Land. So I would hope that the council members will get together with the team and come up with a plan to make it safer for our walkers and our community so we can stay in line with what your goals are, and that's to have a safe community, to increase the ability to walk as opposed to ride. We shouldn't have to get in our cars to drive to Memorial park when we're 2 minutes away. We should walk and walk off some fat, you know? But when you have a truck, and cars coming 50 and 60 miles down that hill, it's dangerous. So that's where I'm here to speak. Anything that you can do to make it safer, whether it's landscaping, whether it's lowering the speed, maybe if it's 35, they'll go 45. I don't know. But I'll meet anybody out on that road and you can see what we're talking about. And that's really all I have to say today.
Thank you, Wanda.
Thank you for your time. Oh, and then Carl is part of our he's on our board and he's part of 101. That's Carl. Thank you.
Our second guest is Romana Ahmad, item 4A.
Good evening, Sugar Land City Council. I did hear the rules for the meeting. However, I have, as a licensed mental health clinician, I am taking care of and I support many Sugar Land residents who are going through secondary trauma. And if you can hear what I have to say, because these are your constituents, and this generation.
Romana, I'm going to stop you right now. That doesn't have anything to do with the agenda item. This is going to be the first warning. So you can speak on the agenda item that you said, and I'll read it to you, which is 4A. And 4A is a public hearing to receive and hear all persons desiring to be heard on a limited purpose annexation of approximately 80 acres of certain commercial property area of Fort Bend County, MUD 128. That's the agenda item.
I feel really heartbroken to be a Sugar Land resident today.
Our second guest is Michelle McKeska, and she's going to speak on item 8A, community events, which is city council member reports.
Good evening. All I simply want to say is shame on each and every one of you. I'm done.
Thank you, Michelle. Our next guest is Inura. She wants to speak on item 4A. Again, I'll remind you, 4A is on the annexation.
Please. City Secretary. So I originally thought that the 4A was the part about public comment, and that's why I saw public, so I thought it was for public comment. And
well, yes, ma'am. The public comment is actually incorporates speaking around an item that's on the agenda. So the public comment is only for items that are on the agenda.
yes, but I am a Sugar Land resident. I am a constituent of Councilwoman Watley, and I am a Palestinian American resident. I just wanted to first congratulate the Councilwoman on your win. I hope that we can work with you to help make this world a better place for our children to live and grow.
Ma'am, I'm going to ask you to step away from the podium. That's not what the agenda item is. If I allow you to do it, I have to allow everybody to do it. If you'll now, that's the first warning.
Disappointed that we're being treated like this today.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sure that you are. Please step away from the podium. Our next guest is Zach McKeska. He wants to speak on 8A, which is council member reports.
Good evening. Among other things, I was going to ask for you to make a public statement on the ceasefire resolution, which you have now done. So thank you for preempting me in that way. I would only ask that you consider putting it on the agenda.
Go ahead and please step away from the podium. Our next guest is Ms. Ashack. She wants to speak on 8 community events.
So yeah, I'm here to speak about community events or community in general. I would like to have the 3 minutes of a moment of silence for the people that are suffering in this community. I mean, I think it's...
I'm sorry, ma'am, that's not part of the agenda. You've heard me say that. I've been
But a moment of silence
been
is...
very clear with the direction. Please step away from the mic. First warning. Our next guest is Manal. He wants to speak on item number 4A. (4A) is on the annexation. Second call from Manal. Is there anyone else that would like to address the City Council on an agenda item? Thank you for coming tonight. Item number 3, consent agenda. All the items on the consent agenda are going to be taken as one motion unless they're pulled by a council member. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion by Jacobson. Do I have a second? Second. Got a second by Watley. Your vote, please. And it's 7-0 vote. Thank you, council members. Our next item is number 4, public hearing. 4A, public hearing. Receive and hear all persons desiring to be heard on a limited purpose annexation of approximately 80 acres of certain commercial property area of the Fort Bend MUD 128. We have with us tonight Kareem Hashmat, our senior planner. Kareem, how are you tonight?
Good afternoon, members of City Council. The purpose of this agenda item is for City Council to hold the first of 2 public hearings regarding the limited purpose annexation of certain commercial areas in Fort Bend MUD 128 Riverstone. City Council approved the amended strategic partnership agreement with MUD 128 on November 16th, 2021, which authorized the limited purpose annexation for the purpose of collecting sales tax. Here is an overview of some of the background of this item. Addresses utilities, fire service provision, et cetera, of the original strategic partnership agreement. For limited purpose annexation purposes, collecting sales tax. Sales tax will be collected and split 50-50 between the district and the city. 4A and 4B will collect their full amounts, and the remainder of the city's portion will go to the general fund. The city is responsible for remitting sales tax to the district on a quarterly basis. The district is responsible for notifying the city of new businesses opening in that area. As you'll see, there's a map and attached to your agenda item. Those parcels being annexed for limited purposes. Note that in addition to the commercial areas, roadways are also being annexed for limited purposes so that the LPA area will be contiguous to city limits. The city satisfied the public hearing requirements of local government code when the SPA was adopted. However, since it's been more than 2 years since that time, staff believed it to be prudent to hold additional public hearings prior to the limited purpose annexation. Notification of the public hearings has been published in the city's newspaper, the MUD's newspaper, and staff has notified property owners of the limited purpose annexation via mailing. To date, and I don't know of any opposition to that item, you'll see before you a list of our schedule, at which point we'll be reading, we'll do the first reading at the second public hearing. Here's a copy of the public hearing notice that was provided. And finally, staff recommends City Council hold first of 2 public hearings on the proposed limited purpose annexation. That concludes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Kareem. At this time, we're going to go ahead and open the public hearing to anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this particular agenda item. Second call. We're going to close the public hearing, and I would ask council members if you have any questions, this would be an appropriate time. This is not an action item, so it's limited to questions from the council only. Any questions? Thank you, Kareem.
Thank you. See you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
We're going to move now to item number 5, contracts and agreements. I'm going to turn the meeting over to our Mayor Pro Tem, and he'll walk us through 5A. Ashack?
Thank you, Mayor. Item 5A, contracts and agreements. Consideration of and action on authorization of a facilities extension agreement with CenterPoint Energy Houston Electric LLC in the amount of $64,073 for electric service for the Public Safety Training Facility Project CIP CMU 2204. And we have with us Brian Norton, Real Property Manager. Brian?
Good evening. City Manager, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. I'd like to come for you today to ask for approval from you all for a CenterPoint contract in the amount of $64,073. This is to extend the services to the city CIP project CMU 2204 Public Safety Training Facility Phase 2. To give a little bit of background, on this project is CMU 2204 was approved back in 2019 as part of the GO bond. This project includes a new facility containing an indoor simulation shoot house, apparatus bay, and training classrooms. At present, the contractor has installed underground utilities. We poured a slab. And now we're in the process of erecting steel framing, which you'll see in the next slide. This is a slide here indicates the process that we're currently at, indicating the steel framing being placed up, the slab being poured. Let's move on. As of right now, CenterPoint is required to extend existing electrical to the new facilities. CenterPoint shall extend services approximately 329 feet to the facility. Installation includes 3-phase primary power transformer, bank, overhead drop, and metering. The cost for this installation is $64,073. Engineering department recommends the city council approve a check release to the CenterPoint for the extension of electrical service for the public safety training facility, Phase 2, CIP CMU 2204, in the amount of $64,073.
Thank you, Brian. Any questions?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Stewart and a second by Carol. Please vote. And it passes 6-0. Thank you, Brian.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Just wait on the mayor.
We're going to move on now to item 5B, consideration and action on authorization of a contract with Environmental Allies LLC in the amount of $3,207,109 for pavement construction for the University Boulevard Widening Mobility Bond Project, CIP CST 2102 and CIP CST 2203. We have with us tonight our Assistant City Engineer, Robert Wilson. Robert.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, City Manager. So a little background on this project. Over the past few years, University Boulevard from Lexington to New Territory has seen tremendous growth. There's a widening project that we included on the 2019 GO bond, and then Fort Bend County subsequently put it on their 2020 mobility bond to get to the proposed improvements. We conducted a traffic study to look at our best options for improvements to reduce congestion and ensure safety. So there's kind of two projects that we've been talking with the community about here. This is a map that shows those projects. One of them is the University Boulevard Widening Project, and then there's a future project that we'll talk about at the end of my presentation regarding future Festival Boulevard connection with Wentworth and some other improvements to that corridor. So the project scope for the University Boulevard widening is widening of University Boulevard from 1,000 feet south of Lexington Boulevard to New Territory Boulevard. This adds one lane to the inside of the roadway in each direction, and it includes modifications to intersections to improve safety and reduce congestion in an area. We advertised the project for bid March 13th, 2024 and March 20th, 2024. We had bids open on March 28th, 2024, and we had 6 bids that were received. Those are the bid tabs. We did have one bid that had a mathematical error that took them from the apparent low to the highest bid. Available funding, we have $4,160,475 in the account, and we need a total of $3,233,109.52. We anticipate construction to be complete in April of 2025. Public engagement, we understand the impacts that this widening will have on our communities. We've held 2 public engagement meetings. To date, we held them July 26, 2023, August 17, 2023. We received feedback from the community that there was a desire to put a traffic signal at Wentworth. We received feedback regarding to the traffic congestion concerns with Smart Financial, the development of Track 5, and speeding along University Boulevard. We took that feedback, we incorporated some of it into the project. We did some expansion of turn lanes to Lexington Boulevard to help with the congestion for the SMART events and the Track 5 development. And we relayed the speeding concerns to Sugar Land PD for enforcement. The Wentworth traffic signal, so this is part of the future Festival Boulevard project. We've submitted for a Houston-Galveston Area Council Traffic Improvement Program grant application for the project. It includes a traffic signal at University Boulevard and Wentworth that is tied to the Festival Boulevard extension. And if it's selected by HGAC, then the project will be placed in the tip in August of 2024. So with that, we request the authorization of the execution of a construction contract with Environmental Allies LLC for the University Boulevard Widening Project, CIP CST 2102 and CIP CST 2203, and the amount of $3,207,109.00. So with that, any questions?
Thank you, Robert. Questions? Suzanne?
Thank you, sir. Robert, we had a constituent tonight that brought up some safety concerns, and we're implementing this tonight, and with approval, we'll have a lot of money going into this project. Are we addressing any of the concerns that she brought up? And I know we're talking about widening and traffic signals, but she was talking about walking alongside the road.
Yes, ma'am.
Are we looking at that?
So we do have studies that we've been doing in-house. The area that she mentioned down in Brazos Landing is outside the project area, but we are aware of it. We have Sugar Land PD doing enforcement, trying to keep those speeds down. That is a problem that we're aware of and trying to mitigate.
Okay, thank you.
Michelle?
I'm going to build on Councilmember Watley's question. I think it was your 3rd or 4th slide. There was a bullet point that talked about project scope and safety. It was the last bullet point.
Yes, sir.
About the safety and reduce congestion. How are we making sure, once again, going back to the lady that spoke, resident that spoke, making sure that safety is, I drive the street quite a bit. People are driving 55. I haven't seen those digital signs go up saying that you're speeding in a while. I see them in the Riverstone area, but I don't see them on the city side. How are we addressing some of those?
So that is part of the enforcement that we do. This area that we're talking about between Lexington and New Territory don't see those same speeds as we see when we get further down near Memorial Park, near the Ditch H Bridge. But that area is typically where we see the traffic concerns south of Wentworth. And those areas are being monitored by SLPD. They're being active with enforcement of those speeds.
Just follow up, Mayor.
Oh,
The light at Wentworth, that would help some of the speed that would go there, right? Because you'll have to slow down before you get there from Memorial Park to Wentworth.
It depends on how that construction goes. We're not just looking at the light as a safety or as a speed mitigation. There's some other methods that we're looking at as well.
Okay. So staff is definitely looking into it.
Correct.
With this company that we're choosing, that you all have chosen.
So this contract is for construction, not for the other part of the project, which is part of the, so going back here to this project with the Festival Boulevard extension, that's kind of the bigger mobility area where we're going to be looking at those safety improvements. So.
Robert, I'm going to suggest, since some of the questions are outside the project.
Yes, sir.
That Mike ask you guys to do an FY at a council that addresses some of these safety issues. Because I don't think it's appropriate to have these questions because it's not on topic on the actual agenda item. Carol?
So if that traffic light at Wentworth is not approved by the HGAC TIP grant, then what's its timing and status, and how would we get funding for it?
Let me. Yeah, I think. If we do not get approving for it, we'll work through our budget department and find the funding and bring the project forward.
Do through the budget process. Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, and have we used Environmental Allies before?
We have not. We do have good feedback from others that have used them.
Okay, thank you.
Jennifer?
Hi, I saw the map. Where is the lane going to go? I know we have those huge magnolia trees. I was just curious what that was going to look like.
So we actually lane dieted this area. So we typically would put in a 12-foot wide lane. We shrunk it to 11 so we can not touch some of the interior landscaping and some of the HOA improvements. So it allows some of those things like that beautiful monument statue that you come into Telfair and Westcott. It allows for the lane to go in, but not touching any of that stuff.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Got a motion by McCutcheon.
Second.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Kamali. You'll vote at this time, please. And pass 7-0. Thank you, council members. Thank you, Robert. Item number 6, ordinances and resolution. 6A, consideration of an action on City of Sugar Land Resolution number 2423, a resolution authorizing publication of notice of intention to issue certificates of obligation. Our guest tonight is Jennifer Brown, our Director of Special Projects. Jennifer.
Thank you. Good evening. All right, this evening we are getting ready to start our bond issuance process for this fiscal year. The first step, we're actually going to have several issues. This is the first step in the issuance of our certificates of obligation. All of the items that we are going to fund from this issuance are budgeted in the fiscal year 24 capital improvement program. These are the projects that will be funded by this issue. There's some supplementary funding to projects that were funded in the 2019 GO bonds due to cost escalations. That's the majority of the projects. And then we have some improvements like the elevators here in City Hall that need to be replaced. They've reached the end of their useful life. Then we're supplementing the intersections along University Boulevard and the public safety training facility and the EOC dispatch center. So we haven't awarded the project yet, but this would provide some additional funding based on our latest funding estimates. So state law requires when you issue certificates of obligation that you have to provide notice of intent before you sell the COs. And that has to be done once per week for 2 consecutive weeks in our official newspaper. The first notice must be 46 days prior to the sale, and there's specific information that must be included, including like the amount to be paid in maturity, the outstanding debt. It's pretty lengthy notice. So the notice also has to be posted on the city's website for at least 45 days before the sale date. So we reviewed this plan with the Finance Audit Committee of City Council at their May 2nd meeting. We outlined all the projects and the calendar, including the other bond issues and a potential refunding associated with Sugarland Development Corporation. And so they all concurred with our direction. And so this evening, we'll ask you to approve resolution number 24-23, stating the city's intent to issue certificates of obligation for our fiscal year 24 capital improvement projects. The sale date will be on July 2nd, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. And we will publish the notice in the newspaper starting next week, May 15th, and then the following week on May 22nd. And then on May 16th, we would begin publishing that notice on our website. And that will be posted continuously. And with that, I would be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Jennifer? Do I have a motion? Got a motion by Watley. Do I have a second? Got a second by Kermally. You vote at this time, please. And it passes 7-0. Thank you, council members. Item number 7, workshop. 7A, review of and discussion on the Charter Review Commission final report and recommendations. We have tonight our city attorney, Meredith Reedy, and Daniel Harris, our Charter Review Commission chair. And then we have a number of the board members. I'll let you introduce them, Meredith.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, we have our chair, Mr. Harris, and we have 3 other of our members, and 1 stepped out. I don't know where she went. But y'all are welcome to come sit in the front row. I'm sure there are lots of questions they would like to ask you. However, I will not be doing or participating in this presentation. As is our custom, I would like to introduce an employee who has yet to do a presentation in front of you, Assistant City Attorney Shay Smith. She spent 1 summer with us as an intern, then 2 years as a law clerk, and as assistant city attorney for 9 years. How I have not had her in front of you is beyond me, but tonight is her opportunity, as she did a lot of work on this Charter Review Commission.
And she's been on the dais before as our counsel.
Yes,
when you
they've all sat up there, but I didn't realize they've had the privilege of addressing you from this side of the podium.
Welcome, Shay.
Good evening. Okay, so we are here today for the workshop on the 2023 Charter Commission final report. The purpose of this workshop is to provide a public opportunity for the 2023 Charter Review Commission to present to you the recommendations that they came up with throughout the process. You will have an opportunity to ask them questions on how they came to the conclusions for the determinations or the recommendations that they are making. And there would be future workshops that would be needed for you to discuss which recommendations you might want to accept. And if you do decide to go forward with any of them, to discuss the future ballot language. The 2023 Charter Commission is comprised of 6 members. Daniel Harris, the chair. We have Bob Barber, David James, Tara Mascarenas, Leslie Nichols, and Neil Patel. There was a 7th person that was originally appointed, but they unfortunately did not make it to any meetings, so their name is not included on any of the materials. And just a little bit of background. The commission was appointed on December 19th, 2023. There were a total of 6 meetings that were held. Council did have an opportunity to attend a meeting and provide input to the commission. And at the beginning of every meeting, there was an opportunity for public comment, but no comments were received. And at this time, I will turn it over to Daniel Harris, the chair.
Welcome, Daniel.
Hello, everybody. On Section 1, General Provisions, we suggested reducing the maximum length of franchise granted by the city from 50 years to 25 years. That's an administrative change. Section 103, general powers, we deleted taxi cab and bus from the list of services regulated as they were also already encompassed within the word transportation. Any questions? Article 2, we added some clarifying language to explain the 3-year election cycle. That's an administrative change. On section 204, we did say that any candidate that was running for a separate seat, not running for the same seat, but running for a separate seat, we would like to see them resign to run. That way if they're running for a second seat, they can't lose and keep their original seat. That way we're not tying up 2 seats. Article 3, we had no recommended changes. Article 4, we did recommend extending the municipal court judge from 2 to 4 years. We felt that was an important thing to have more time in office in case there were changes or different plans came up. And we did ask that the municipal court judge be a resident of the city. Any questions? Article 5, we had no recommended changes. Does staff have any questions or anything?
Questions on the changes?
City Council, sorry.
Carol.
So regarding section 1.03E, the recommendation that the maximum length of a franchise be reduced from 50 to 25 years for franchises that have already been granted by the city, which ones are over 25 years? Which would be a staff question. So.
Yes. So we looked at a number of different cities. I don't believe we found any cities that had 50 years. 25 to 30 seem to be the standard for other cities. So this is in line with what is in other city charters.
Okay, so the city of Sugar Land does not have any franchise that's currently over 25 years?
No, we do not.
Okay, and then the next question is regarding section 2.04, the resign to run. In the Charter Commission report that council received, the language says, if a member of the city council becomes a candidate for election to any public office, such candidacy shall constitute an automatic resignation of the city office then held. And the clarifying paragraph above that stated that that would apply to all positions on council. And so the way that the draft language was proposed, which is not shown up here tonight, but was shown in the Charter Commission report, it would mean that a council member would need to resign to run when running for re-election to their own seat. So that is not, from what you said, that's not the intent then.
Resign for their own seat? No, the intention was not to resign to run for your own seat. It was to resign if you run for another seat.
Okay, yeah, just the way that the draft language was stated, it said that the resign to run provision in the charter would be amended so that it applies to all positions and not just public offices other than council. So if that language goes on, it would need to have like some sort of a saying that it does not include we need to have a clarifying language, because the way it's worded right now, if like Councilmember Lane wanted to run for a seat next year, she'd have to resign to run for her own office unless some clarifying language was added.
Yes, ma'am. And as is custom with the charter, this is the board's the commission's presentation. We'll have additional meetings when you tell us which provisions you want to go on the ballot, any changes you want at that time. This is just them presenting the report to you.
Yeah.
We're not working out language this evening.
Okay. So, I did have that one question about, in the original charter, it has, at the end of that section, it talks about it being compatible with the provisions of the charter and state law, but I know in the proposed language, and state law is not there. So does that have any significance by eliminating and state law?
Once again, this is just their recommendation. We will work on the ballot language once you tell us which provisions you would like to move forward, and that will be at a different meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? So I think the way to move forward on this is, and we can poll the council, is everybody comfortable with, generally the recommendations that are being made by the Charter Review Commission, and which will now result in our legal staff looking at the detailed language of what that is, and then we'll hold a workshop with the detailed language. Is that correct, Meredith?
Yes, sir. If you take a poll and let us know which provisions you would like us to work on, as opposed to us drafting language for all 3 of them or 4 of them, that would be appreciated.
Okay. Well, I think it's clear based on what Carol pointed out. I think we probably need to work on that language to the, does anyone else have any clarifying questions that they would need to work on any other recommendations? Okay, thank you, Carol. So, God, that was easy.
We can go back if you want.
Well, if I could ask, all of you to stand. I mean, we appreciate the time that you put into this. I know it's not easy. I know pretty much every one of you, and I know you got other stuff going on. So making 6 meetings, we appreciate it. We appreciate the time. We appreciate the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Item number 8, City Council City Manager reports. 8A, City Council Member reports. Nashad, I'm going to start with you.
Thank you, Mayor. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been up here because we had our retreat, but several of us 2 weekends ago attended the Sugarland Cultural Arts Fest at Smart Financial. Beautiful weather, lots of people that turned out, lots of vendors that were there selling their artwork, and it's nice to see them continue to grow. So good work to the entire board of directors for the Sugarland Arts Fest. And then several of us also attended the State of the County here at the Marriott last week, where Judge KP George and the commissioners gave their annual report, and it was their first time here in the city of Sugarland doing it. That's it, Mayor.
Jennifer.
Councilmember Cutchin and Carmali and I attended the Fort Bend Mayor and Council Association dinner in Simonton, where we offered our appreciation to Mayor Jessup of Meadows Place for his leadership role in that association and all the good work that he's done. And so we had a good farewell to him, and also Mayor Groff with his last term as Mayor of Fulshire. So we had a very nice presentation from juvenile probation, asking for persons interested in being mentors to kids in juvenile detention. So that was a need that was expressed to us.
Thank you, Jennifer. William.
Mayor, there has been a lot going on, and all good. I want to thank the hard work that's being done at Smart Financial. I don't know what we would do without that beautiful venue in our city. In the past 2 weeks, Jordan Peterson, Sarah Jakes, and even Larry the Cable Guy has been in our city, attracting the greater community to our city, to our stores. And I want to add that Saturday was full of about 7 different events in Sugarland, which was overwhelming. But the one I want to highlight is the 3rd annual Sugarland Classic. It's a mountain bike race that is pretty much probably 100% managed by the volunteers of our Fort Bend mountain bike group and some out of Houston. And I don't know yet, and I'm sure Mike's team will be able to one day tell us the financial or economic impacts of that event annual. In spite of the rain, there were cyclists everywhere going to our stores and our restaurants, and I am so thankful for all those volunteers.
Thank you, William. Stuart.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended the J.J. Watt Charity Classic, where my niece, Sarah Anderson, achieved her life's goal of meeting J.J. Watt. So she can die happy now at 32. Thank you.
Carol.
Very good. Well, let's see. I attended an event that supported the East Fort Bend Human Needs Ministry, and Stacy Williams is being promoted to be the executive director of that organization. And I attended the Sweet Beats Festival at Crown Festival site, and even had a boa constrictor around my neck for a little while, which was fun. And I attended a marchathon concert by the George Ranch High School Band in Greatwood.
Thank you, Carol. Suzanne, I know where you've been.
Woo, we were busy. First of all, I want to congratulate William on the MS-150. That was awesome, and you represented our city doing that very, very well. I had the honor of joining my husband, the president of Abigail's Place on 420, who did a great job with that nonprofit, so congratulations, honey. And on 427, Child Advocates threw a heck of a party and raised some money for a really good cause, so congratulations to Ruth Ann. And the rest of the time in between that, some of you were there with me. We were just plugging along, working for re-election. So thank you all for helping me.
I think what I'd like to present on tonight is that Mike, I think Yasmin's done an extraordinary job with the Space Cowboys. And council members, I want to thank you. I think you guys have showed up when we've had presentations at SMART. We've always had somebody there. Nancy and I had a chance to host a number of people at Celtic Women, one of my favorite bands when I was overseas for a period of time. So again, my compliments to you and staff for the attendance that we've had. We've had somebody in the suite every single night, and we've had different members of staff. I know economic development, I know planning's been there. We've had public works, we've had just about everybody. So I want to thank you for that effort. Mike, I'll turn it to you. 8B.
No report, Mayor.
This time, item number 9, closed executive session. 9A, closed executive session is authorized by 551 Texas Government Code in accordance with 551087. Deliberation regarding economic development negotiations. And at this time, we're going to adjourn to the council dining room. Thank y'all for coming tonight. Officers.